Welcome back to our YouTube channel, and on today's video we're going to be talking about how to sell a regional business, whether that's in Victoria where we are located currently right now, or maybe you're located in another regional town all across Australia. So if that's you, if you're a business owner and you are living and you own your business in a regional area, whether that's in hospitality, maybe industrial, maybe some type of trades or service or anything, whatever, but the business actually operates regionally across one of the states in Australia, then this video is going to help you figure out how to kind of start thinking about preparing for that sale, and then also how to start packaging and what the process looks like for these regional sales across the country. Now, currently right now, regional areas, specifically here in Victoria and also Queensland, the businesses across these regional areas are actually in more demand right now and are getting sold more than the businesses in the major capital cities. Now, a lot of the time, the reasons for this are there is growing demand in property because these major cities are getting more expensive, so people are moving further out. So a lot of these outer regional towns are actually getting more busy. So investors and buyers and just people that are, wanting to move out into these regional towns are acquiring or investing in these businesses that are located in the regional towns. And this is because those towns are often getting more populated as well. So with more people moving to these towns, just in general, the business acquisitions are going to increase. Now, not only that, but often these businesses that are in regional towns outperform businesses that are in the more populated areas for a number of reasons. We'll get into that maybe in another video, but it's not really necessary for this specific one. Why I'm explaining this information to you here is that if you are a regional business owner, you might be thinking like, oh, you would buy my business. Well, depending on where you're located, obviously if you're in a super regional town that you've got your Geelong, your Ballarat, your Bendigo, and you're even further out, then obviously it's going to get a little bit more trickier depending on what it is that you're selling. But if you are in one of the major regional cities, then you've got a much higher chance of selling the business because these areas are becoming more populated in general, which means the demand for businesses to buy or invest in or take over is increasing there as well. Now, a lot of people also want to acquire businesses in these towns or regional cities for a lifestyle change. Myself, I've lived in Melbourne my whole life. I would really like to live in Ballarat. I spend a lot of time in Ballarat. I really like Ballarat. My wife also likes Ballarat. And so I obviously sell businesses, and I'm starting to preempt building a foundation in Ballarat for the future because I ideally would like to move out there. But a lot of people want the different lifestyle, so a lot more like laid back, nature, slower pace than Melbourne or whatever the major capital city is that they live in. They would like to move to one of these regional towns. So these are all important factors to keep in our mind depending on what sort of business we're in. In saying that as well, a lot of businesses that operate in the major capital cities would like to expand what they're doing or just acquire a similar business in these regional towns that's already up and running and established to add into their operation what they're doing. As an example, we might have a business that does glass, so that maybe they do windows and glass windows and doors and shower screens, pool fencing, whatever. And they're located in Melbourne and they've got a big operation in Melbourne, but they do see a lot of opportunity in going to Ballarat or going to Bendigo, one of these other regional towns. And instead of just setting up an operation there, they might already have the funds and the ability and interest to acquire an existing glass business in these regional towns and just take that over, not change the name, but just take it over. And now they've got an entire operation with the team already located in those regional towns there. So there's a lot of reasons why people are interested in regional towns and regional businesses. So if you are located there, don't just think, oh, I'm too far away from everyone, so no one's going to be interested in buying my business. It's often quite the opposite. Now, if you heard me before, I mentioned if you're in a regional town to the regional city that you're in, it can get a little bit trickier. If you own a little takeaway shop or a pub or some type of clothing outlet, like a real niche business model operation, and you're running it out of one of these tiny little towns, then the people that would potentially buy get smaller, the pool of people. And we want to try think of selling your business as more of an opportunity. because there's a more than likely chance you're not really profitable or you're just a little bit profitable. And so there's a big portion of the business buyers that are buying businesses for investment opportunity, for growth, whatever other reasons. They're most likely not going to be interested in your business. But the mum and dad, owner operators, maybe retirees that are wanting to just do something for their retirement, maybe a young couple that's looking to move on the outskirts of a state or whatever. We're going after more opportunists to acquire those types of businesses rather than an existing strategic buyer coming in and buying your little takeaway tuck shop type of thing. There's really no value in it for them, but there is value in it for the young couple, the mum and dad, the retirees that are looking to, maybe someone owns a tuck shop, pizza shop in another area and they're moving to your area and they'd rather just take over your business. They're the type of buyers that we want to try and move into, but the pool gets much smaller and it does unfortunately get much more difficult there. Now, if you do have waste recycling or management facility or some type of manufacturing or engineering or industrial facility, if you have a crane company or truck and dog transport logistic company, a lot of these types of businesses we do find out in these regional areas for obvious reasons. It's off the freeway, off the highway, easy access. It gives connectivity to other states and regions easier than setting it up in the city where the traffic is and all of the cameras and whatever. So if you have a business that falls into those categories, often, more than likely, the buyers don't really care. They're not really, as long as you're established and the operation's good, they don't really care. Maybe the head office is, the buyer, their head office is in Melbourne or in Bendigo or Ballarat or even interstate. So they're not necessarily too phased about where your yard or the plant or the manufacturing factory is necessarily. So if you fall into one of those categories, often it can be totally okay. Also with trades. Now, a lot of trades, they might have a yard, but a lot of them will just set up from home and it's kind of like a mobile trade service business. So in those categories as well, it is also still quite appealing because the business itself doesn't need to be located in the regional area you're located in. So if you got your major cities like your Melbourne, your Sydney, your Perth, whatever, then you've got your regional towns, which might be like Wagga, your Albury, Bendigo, Ballarat, Townsville, or regional towns. And then if you're located even more regional than those regional towns, just because you're there, if you're a trade or service business, it doesn't mean that it's going to be difficult to sell your business. If you've already got the operation, a buyer necessarily doesn't need to go to your house to take over the business. As long as they're somewhere in the same vicinity, in the same region, even if it means they live in the regional city, but they have to travel an hour to get to work every day, everybody that lives out in those regional towns is used to it. So it's pretty normal. So if you are in the trades or service business as well, and you're in a more regional, it's not necessarily a deal killer. Now, when it comes to valuing a regional business, it's the exact same. There's no difference in terms of how we value the business specifically, what mathematics and equations we use. It's all literally the same. The only area that being regional can affect the valuation and the price point is in multiple. It can be a potential negative in the multiple because of the fact it's so regional. But again, it depends on who we're showing the business to. Any other business. If we show a accounting firm to a tradie business owner and that's looking to buy a business, he's going to find no value whatsoever in the accounting firm. No matter how much the accounting firm's doing, he or she is just going to think, I know nothing about accounting. Generally, tradies don't. And I go on to buy this accounting business. I'm going to run it into the ground. There's no way I'm spending my money on that. Probably wouldn't even spend, if they got it at 50% off, most of them would say no because they don't see any value in it. Now, where the tradie, if you showed him a potential maybe tool supply or like a supplier distribution wholesale business that supplies materials and goods for other trade services, then he's going to start thinking like, I'm in this trade, but if I acquire this wholesale distribution retail business, maybe I can also add in this as well. Now it's becoming more valuable to him or her. So when we're valuing a regional business, it falls into the exact same category of how we actually come to the evaluation, the equations we use, the multiples and so on. But once we put it to the market, whether we're doing this off market or listing it on the typical business for sale websites, we're going to get a mixture of different people that some come and just see our price tag and go, nah, that's too high. And we always say, well, have a look. What are you seeing? What's something of value or what's something we can share with you that will help you come up with an offer we can pass on to the vendor or seller? So it's always going to be, depending on who's seeing the business, holds a different type of value and perception and opportunity to the business, to them. So in the valuation side, nothing changes at all. But once we go to market, we have to expect that there is going to be a completely different array of potential buyers, and they're all going to have completely different ways of valuing the business when it comes to multiple. The net profit of the business doesn't change, but the multiple will depend on what value somebody sees in the business. Now, how to make sure you're getting the most amount of value for your regional business is, again, the exact same typical strategies. Make your business as owner independent as possible. It's very hard to make it 100% independent where the business doesn't rely on you at all. But the closer you can get to making your business completely manageable, undermanaged, running without you involved, the more value the business is going to be worth, and people will not care where you're located. If you have built an established business that generates a decent amount of profit and it runs without you, and ideally it's growing, and ideally all of the sales are maintenance, consistent sales, not project to project. Ideally, you don't need any marketing. The business is just coming in organically. It's contracted, hopefully, to governments and other things. It's locked in work. The closer you can get to that, it literally doesn't matter if you are located in the middle of Australia or in the middle of the ocean. You are going to have a huge amount of people that want your business because you've created a money-making machine. Now, this is the exact same thing I tell people that are located anywhere in Australia, but specifically for you guys and girls that are located in the middle of Australia or wherever you're located regionally, the closer you can get your business to running on systems and automation, it doesn't rely on you being there whatsoever. Ideally, it's undermanaged, so you have a manager or a GM or a CEO running the show, meaning you can go on holiday and do what you want. And then also, you've got as much profit coming out of the business as possible. Not a little bit, as much profit as possible. Now, all of these things that I've just mentioned there, like I said, are typical across any business, and it's not very easy to get it to the 100% tick all of the boxes there. But the closer you can get, the more valuable your business will be worth, and people will not care where you're located regionally. They just want that money-making machine and system that you've built. Now, when it comes to selling the business from our end as your business broker, one thing that we do here at BurnGate is we will list your business on all of the typical listing websites, but we also go ahead and create a strategic database where we targeted outreach to specific individuals and businesses and firms and groups that we believe would find some type of value in acquiring your business. As an example, I just did it for a decking company that we've got on now. So I reached out to landscapers, pool builders, carpenters, people that I think if I present this guy's business in the right way would go, actually, you know what? Buying that business might actually help me make more money than what I'm doing now, or it will help my current business grow. So these are what we call strategic buyers. And that's what we do a lot differently than most of these business brokers around. Currently, they'll just list your business and spray and pray and just hope that someone shows interest and buys the business. We go out there and put elbow grease in, boots on the ground, and try and connect with potential buyers. The next thing I would always recommend doing for a regional business is running paid ads. So running ads across things like Meta and Instagram, where we can specifically target the region that you're located in, because otherwise, how are the people in that specific region going to know that your business is actually for sale? Now, this is all confidential. We don't present your business. We don't say the name or anything that can tie it back to you. But as an example, say you're a cafe and you're located in Bendigo or Ballarat, and you might be on one of these listing websites, but that listing websites only have people that are actively looking to buy a business searching on them. Where there might be a young couple, a mum and dad, or someone else, an individual that has just finished their hospitality apprenticeship or chef apprenticeship, whatever, and they might be thinking, oh, I want to go out and start a cafe. And so we have to figure out how can we get in front of those people and present your business to those people, which is why we run paid ads, because we can specifically target the region, set the ads up and run the ads to that region and present it as an opportunity. So again, that, from our expert opinion and experience, they are the best ways that you're going to get your regional business sold, which is putting it on the listing websites, creating a strategic database that you outreach to, and then also running paid ads targeted to the specific region, presenting it as an opportunity. Now, if you have a regional business located anywhere across Victoria and or Queensland currently right now, and you're considering selling and you'd like some more information about how we could do that for your specific business, please tap any of the links here on my channel, go to our website, inquire with us, and we'll provide you with a completely free appraisal and exit strategy tailored to your specific regional business. Thank you. I'll see you on the next one.